Hi there, everyone. This is Dr. Gwen. Good afternoon. And I am so grateful that you are able to join me today. It is Friday. My goodness, this week has really gone by very quickly. And I can't seem to think where it went. And there were, of course, a lot of trials and tribulations and good things, happy moments to celebrate in this week. And of course, that is how life is. That's a vicissitude of life, the ups and downs, which make it quite interesting. Because if we were always up and if we were always down, wouldn't life be really boring? And so I am glad that you're able to join me, and I'm trying to fix my tablet here so that it doesn't topple over as I set it on my little mount so that you can see me. Now, I'm wearing a dress today, and it actually is a dress, though it looks a little different. I could rise up a little bit so you could see some of the patterns down there, and I thought I'd put it on just to kind of see how it would fit, because it has been like, I almost feel like decades since I was able to fit this dress. And if you remembered, at the beginning of this year, I started off doing some workout because I had stopped working out like a year and some, and I couldn't fit this dress and I couldn't fit other dresses. And so coming down to December, I feel so happy that even though working out is not my first love, I actually was able to stick with it. So now today we're talking about the holiday and beyond. And as the holiday comes up, ladies, I know many people get carried away with all the merchandising and all the gift shopping and everything else. And I see this is saying my connection is weak. But anyway, I will continue, and if it does break up, we will be back. So many ladies continue with this tradition of the merchandising and the gift giving, and then we also get into the whole preparation piece where we want to prepare the best meals for our friends and our families that are coming over. And typically at the end of this whole show, we are so exhausted we can't even sit down to enjoy the meal that we prepared. I know for me, I certainly enjoy eating other people's cooking than I do mine, because as I stand up and I do that cooking sometimes for 2 days straight, at the end of it, it's like, I can't even eat. But one of the things that I discovered a few years ago, and I didn't notice a pattern, was that at the end of every holiday season, like Thanksgiving and Christmas, I tended to get sick. And it was so bad that I would end up having to go to the emergency room at the hospital, and they would put me in the hospital for about 2 or 3 days, running all of these tests, stress tests and everything would come back perfect. So it was extremely frustrating. And I never did notice the pattern until well into a few years later. After one Thanksgiving meal, I noticed again I was going off to the emergency room. And I thought, what could this be? Because for my diet, it has to be not so much variety on plate. So I know that because it's like my stomach can't handle all the variety. So I would be very careful about what I chose to put on my plate. But nevertheless, I would still be running to the hospital at the end of it. And then it finally hit me that it wasn't so much the stress of the preparation, but it was some of the things that I was putting in my body. Like cheese, for example, seemed to elevate my blood pressure. I don't know for what reason, the dairy products. And when I had more of that, then that was the time when I went. But aside from that dietary issue. There was the issue of just feeling exhausted. And what do you do, ladies, when you find that the holidays come and you're running around, you're literally breaking your neck to satisfy everybody while your family sits down? Some of them are playing video games. Maybe your hubby is watching a game and friends and family are coming over. What can you do so that you feel completely empowered during this time of the year when it can be really stressful? Happy, yes, but stressful for a lot of women. I'm going to tell you what I learned and what I started to do. Actually, I started enrolling everybody in the household to take an active role. Yes. So some kids would fix some of the dishes. I didn't feel like I have to fix them all. Some kids would wash up the utensils. Like, I like to bake, so I do this big, like 5 Christmas cakes at the beginning of the season. And when I do that, it's very exhausting, and I use a lot of equipment like the mixer and everything else. So one of my daughters would be responsible for clearing that and just completely rinsing it, getting it all cleaned up and turned down immediately so that the clutter was being removed as I do the cooking. And then she would stack the dishwasher. She'd be the one responsible for doing that, so I didn't have to be the one. And then my husband, he would be in the background doing stuff. Sometimes I'd enroll him to do some of the chopping of the fruits or the peppers or the onions, so that everybody is pitching in, and at the end of that thing, I am not the one that is feeling exhausted while everybody is light and enjoying the moment, right? So that's one of the things that you can really do to help you so that your stress level is a little lower as the season comes around. One of the things too that you can do is, if you have family that's coming over or friends that are coming over that are local, ask them to bring a dish. Ask them to bring a dish. I know for years I didn't like that. People would say, "What would you like?" "No, just come hungry." And, because I enjoyed fixing the meals and I enjoyed seeing them enjoy the meal. But then as time wore on, if they asked me that, I would say, "Well, bring a salad, or can you bring some dinner rolls, or you can bring some desserts or something to complement the meal, or you can bring a favorite dish." And this way, everybody feels more a part of what is going on because they have made a contribution, and therefore they're feeling more connected about the whole circumstance and the whole event that is actually going on. If people are coming from out of town, ask them to show up maybe a day or two earlier. Maybe they can help you with the cleaning up of the house, or the tidying up, or the straightening up of whatever needs to happen at that time, so that you can really enjoy the moment. These are some things to empower you ladies over the holiday so that you don't feel like you are so overwhelmed doing all of this on your own. But so we're talking about the holidays, and I also said and beyond. So then what happens beyond that period? When you're feeling empowered over the holiday period, you can be more alert and be more with your guest and enjoy the moment more and be more available for your family as the time goes on. But beyond, you can take that very same strategy into beyond. But I don't just want to have this conversation be about food and about preparation, because I'm completely aware that not everyone celebrates a time called Christmas. And I've told you that I personally, quite recently, have just really stopped the merchandising and this exhibition of stuff, to display and to participate into this activity. And it is still a very jovial, happy, jolly time for people because of the sounds of the music and everything else. And that's perfect, play the music, enjoy, but not everybody celebrates Christmas. So then, what do you do beyond that? And that beyond could be this moment leading up to the rest of your life. I want to talk about how you set yourself up to prepare yourself for the next 365 days plus whatever we have left over. See, if you think about your New Year's resolution, I don't set them because I continuously set my resolutions. I continuously set goals as I live my life. So what about you? Are you setting like a one-time New Year's resolution? How are those working out for you? Are you achieving them? Are you getting to them? And that's really the main focus of my conversation with you today, because it's empowering reflections. And I really want you to think about the life that you want to live and the quality of that life, how you want to show up, not just for your own self, but for the people in your life. Now, don't wait for January 1 to start setting your goals. Start setting them now. So during this holiday season, schedule a time when you can actually reflect. That reflection is very important because I don't think people quite take that reflection as seriously as they should. You really need quiet time and quiet space away from everybody else so you can really reflect on your life and you can really think about what you want. We're talking about empowering reflections, and you want to be in that process of increase. No matter what we say, we all want to be in the process of increase. Increase can be monetary wise, it can be health wise, it can be professionally, it can be personally. That is what increase is all about, and that is the law of nature. Everything in nature increases. They grow, they expand, they reproduce. That is what increase is all about. And to deny that increase is a natural part of life is actually to deny the joy and the beauty of your expansion and your existence. So, find a quiet, reflective moment where you can sit down and reflect on what you want to be. Who do you want to show up to be for the rest of this year leading into the next 365? Because that requires some thoughts. I think a lot of us are floating around just not realizing that we have a purpose. We have a grand purpose in life. So will you allow 2017 to be that life when you manifest that purpose that you came here to manifest, that life that you came here to show and display and empower others so that they too can have empowered experience in their own life? So when you set that time aside, do reflection, deep reflection. I love meditating. I've said that so many times now. That is just such a space, such a quiet space to really go to, where you feel so connected with your inner being, your inner guide, your divine nature. It is a beautiful, exhilarating experience where you get to listen and communicate with the divine and listen for the messages that you get. If your life doesn't have a direction, maybe you're not listening. You're doing a lot of talking. People talk about praying, and then they pray and they don't listen. The act of meditation is that act of listening. So you need to retreat and listen. Listen for the direction of your life. And you might want to have a pen and paper right next door to you so that you can record and write down the information that's coming to you, or speak it in your phone recorder. But when you get this, what you really want to do is to make it an intention. Don't just have it be a vague goal in your head. What you want to do is to take it from here and to put it on paper. Because when you put it on paper, there's some magic that really happens when you start writing. I don't know for you, but for me, when I write my goals, if I type them on the computer, for some reason, it doesn't quite work out the same. It just seems as though that when I write it, something magical transmits through my fingers onto that paper, and suddenly that thing comes alive. And more often than not, the goals that I've handwritten tend to come to fruition as well. I've noticed that on several different occasions. So what I want to do is to take it from here and put it on paper so that it really exists. Now, once you write it down, you have to find a way to make it strategic. And when I say strategic, I mean that you're actually going to take those steps to make it happen. When you write your goals, don't just say you want to do 3 laps around the court every day. What you have to do is to write down those tiny steps in between that are going to help you to get there as well. That's what I call the strategies. You can put a timeline on them. You break them down so that they are measurable. I love to talk about my SMART goals. Specific, measurable, action-oriented, relevant, and time-bound. That's what your goals need to be. And when you have those goals relevant to what you are about, not just simply relevant to any old topic, but relevant to your purpose and to your passion. So you really want to make it relevant and action-oriented. And that is where your strategies do come into place. So when you create them, write them down, make them specific. Now, I do have a free training. It's in my online course platform that you can access. And that training will show you exactly how you can write those goals so that they are smart and filled with your strategies. I think that's where a lot of people fall off the cart. Not just that, not just making the goals strategic, but also really staying with the commitment and in integrity with what you say you're going to do. So it's not just important that you make them specific, measurable, action-oriented, relevant, and time-bound. Now you've got to put another piece in it, and that other piece has to be your commitment, your integrity. You're saying you're going to do what you say you're going to do. Now, I know we all fall off the cart occasionally, but you must, that's where this intention comes about again. And when you get up, set a routine that you're going to follow. My routine in the mornings is I get up, I drink 2 glasses of water, I meditate after that. Sometimes I flip-flop it, I meditate, then drink the water. I found when I drink the water and I meditate, for some reason, I feel better about it. I don't know. There's probably nothing scientific about it. It's just my preference. And then I work out. There is a mastermind call that I get on in the mornings from 9 to 10 o'clock. Some mornings I'm able to get on, some mornings I'm not. That is not something I committed to doing every single day. But I set a routine for what I want to achieve, and I do it most of the times. And if I fall off the cart, I'm getting right back up there because I've set my intentions that that is what is going to happen. So now, ladies and gents, if you want to achieve your goals for 2017, start now. Start putting into action right now those things that you want. So just in closing, I just want to reflect with you on some of the things that I covered. As far as the holiday goes, get people to pitch in to help you. You are not Superwoman or Superman. You cannot and should not expect to do it all by yourself. Train the people in your space to contribute. Number 2, get in a quiet place. Find a place where you can reflect and you can just be by yourself and really, really connect. Get into that space where you can meditate and listen for your life path. Just listen and get your pen and paper ready so you can write down the download that you're getting. When you write it down, create the specific goals. Make them specific, measurable, action-oriented, relevant to your purpose and your passion, and time-bound. Create the strategies for those goals. Get into commitment and follow through on those goals. That is the way, my friends, that you're going to do it. And no matter what happens, even if you fall off the card, get right back up again and get on it. So, in leaving you today, please stay empowered. Make sure you get ahead of the game, ahead of this New Year's resolution by starting today. And once again, this is Dr. Gwen, empowering lives to live purposefully and passionately. Love you. And I want to quickly say, if you watch this afterwards, leave your comments below. I really like that. Thank you very much. Have the most amazing, amazing weekend.